you guys put on quite a scene, and the fire marshal had to close things down for a minute. You represent. I'm going to sit, I think, if that's okay. I don't think unnecessarily swollen ankles are terribly sexy, so I'm going to rest a little.
I love the way she says
Oh, thank you very much for your patience. I'm really excited to be here. I think it's been 2 years since I've done a convention, at least, maybe. And I was saying on a podcast recently that I tend not to turn up unless I think I've got something to say. And when I do have something to say, I talk a lot, so I apologize in advance if I just rubbish on. Since I've seen any of you last, if I've met any of you before, I've had one child, worked full-time on Stargate, and yes, thank you very much. And in a few short months we'll be expecting my second child, God willing, so been a bit busy. But I really wanted to say thank you because this convention in particular has provided me with a very specific opportunity to literally keep afloat. I don't know if anyone in this room has ever been through a home renovation. If anyone wants to give a show of hands, anyone who's been through that horrendous experience, I am so sorry for all of you. This was my first experience. We've never invested in any real estate or anything really before. I'm such a gypsy for work, and I've never really put roots down, and never known that I'd be able to pay a mortgage, and still not sure at this point. We've got this really great deal because we have no credit history. We are negatively amortizing our mortgage, so we're just adding on money to the principal instead of paying off the mortgage at this point. It's genius. I've never been good at math, but I can pretty much figure out this is terrible. It was on the advice of my business manager that we purchased this house, and I think he will no longer be in our service by the end of the year. But we've had just one of those weird years. I know you guys can relate, where just one thing after the other, you know, no matter how much you plan in your life. I always say man plans and God has other ideas. We thought we'd planned out our year really well. All sorts of things have happened. And I'm sitting here very grateful that for every autograph I sign, I've been able so far today to get a new toilet seat. I can't tell you how grateful I am, because the guys that are working at the house at the moment, I walked in after one of them and went, "Oh my God!" and walked out again. So thank you for helping me buy a new toilet seat. I'm not kidding, I really mean it. It wasn't in the budget, and now it can be. The thing for me is you're also helping me to fulfill a dream, because I want to have a home birth, and at the moment we don't have a home. And I keep saying to the guys on the site, it's a home birth, not a Home Depot birth. And I swear to God, I'm going to pop this baby out in aisle 13 in the lumber section. And it's really not what I want to do. And I'd say to anyone who hasn't yet had a baby but who is thinking about it, you hear all these horror stories, and I had such an amazing birth experience a couple of years ago with my first child, and I would wish that for everybody. And a lot of that has to do with, I think, what we propagate about the whole concept of birth. And everything birth I think I've learned from the movies. Well, I said, well, the same. I mean, these massive babies come out in the movies, and I thought, how on earth am I going to naturally give birth to something that size? Because of filming laws, it has to be a 3-month-old child. So, thankfully, once I realized that these babies were actually several months older than a newborn, I thought maybe it was conceivably possible to do it without, horse tranquilizers in my system. And I actually gave birth a week early, out of town, at a friend's wedding. And they say, I don't know if it's sort of anecdotal, if it's sort of urban myth, but they say electrical storms, plane flights, things like that can bring on labour. So my doctor said the day before I left, it was a domestic flight, and in Australia the rules are, as long as it's a domestic flight, you can travel up until your due date, if it's not too long a flight. So they allowed me to get on the plane. And we arrive at our sort of holiday condo, and someone had designated our condo as the party condo. And we we'd also been given a room that was down the hall from the bathroom, and I sort of had to kick someone out of their room so I at least could go a million times during the night to the loo. And that evening, as I was talking to everyone, I started to experience these weird sensations, and there'd actually been an electrical storm out in the sky as well. So as I'm flying here last night, through the lightning, I'm thinking, well, won't I have a story to tell tomorrow morning when I'm up on stage with the baby in my arms? And quite a phone conversation with my poor husband. I've also been granted this opportunity, oddly enough, to spend, apparently I need to get on a plane to spend 4.5 hours with my best friend who I haven't seen in ages, so I'm just sitting here incredibly grateful to all you guys. I know this event's been going for a long time, it's my first time attending, but it means a lot to me just even in the last 24 hours, I can't tell you. But enough of me. I'd love to hear from you guys. I really haven't had an opportunity to meet any Stargate fans specifically in person. Thank you to the Farscape people who can hear from them. So if anyone has any questions, is that what happens? Does the mic come to those who? No.
They have to come up here and form a line.
Okay.
We can't be over that speaker without getting named.
Sorry, say again.
Right over here. We'll get feedback.
I have a quick question. Since you were on Farscape before you went on to Stargate, did your experience on being on their sci-fi show help you prepare, I guess, for Stargate, or was it just completely different, like in preparing for the role?
It's a good question. They're entirely different beasts in one sense, obviously. But the common thread, I'd say, was our attempt always for humour. And as the thing I loved about Farscape the most is the more we got into our groove, the more, I think, funny it became. And we were all able to collaborate and put in our 5 cents plus tax for what we thought was amusing at the time. But very different animals in terms of filming style, atmosphere on set. Farscape was, I mean, Australians are very, we had a lot of levity, and we like to really enjoy ourselves on set. We like to have a really good time. Farscape environment was a really intense one for a lot of reasons. It was probably the most anyone had spent on a production of its kind ever. There were so many elements. I would never have wanted to work in that production office. If anyone works in film production or TV production, it's enormously stressful. And the way that I describe it is that it's like a puzzle where each individual piece, you're trying to assemble the puzzle, but each time you go to assemble it, the individual pieces keep changing shape. So you can never get that puzzle to work, the entire picture simultaneously. So each day you're just working on those little pieces to try and get them to fit so that everyone can do their jobs and get the day done. Stargate was such a well-oiled machine by the time I found these guys that, I mean, it was quick, it was organized, it was, everything had its place, everyone knew what they were doing. And, Vala is such a delightfully messy character that everyone was grateful to have something throwing them for a bit of a spin. And so when I would come on set, they'd say, okay, so Claudia's going to stand here and she's going to, and I said, right. Really? Because that's what someone in the military, she's going to sit at the really? Does Vala need to sit? And it was a really interesting process for everyone because we'd all stop for a second. Andy Makita would say, oh, good point. She's not beholden to anyone or anything. She's completely renegade. What do you want to do? Well, which is such a fantastic privilege for an actor to be in a position, to have all that at your disposal. And then the addition